I should have known something was wrong the moment the brush touched my skin. But let me start at the beginning. It was October 31st, Halloween night, and our little college town in Ohio was buzzing like it always did. Bars downtown were spilling over with fake blood and fishnets, the streets lined with costumed drunks shouting for ride shares. The leaves had gone brittle and red, sticking to people's boots, and the smell of bonfires drifted through the crisp night air. I hadn't planned to go to the party. My roommate, Claire, had been bugging me for weeks. It's senior year. You can't just sit in your room again. Come on, one last Halloween before we're adults and it's weird. I wasn't a party person. I didn't drink much, didn't like shouting over music, didn't like the press of strangers. But she had a point. Senior year only happens once, and everyone would be there. So I said yes. We got ready in our apartment, both of us fumbling through costumes we'd ordered last minute on Amazon. Claire had gone for the classic vampire look, fake fangs, red contacts, little velvet corset. She looked incredible, as always. Me, I had nothing, just black jeans, a hoodie, and a cheap plastic mask shaped like a skull. Claire wrinkled her nose when I put it on. Seriously, that's all you've got? What? I shrugged. It's minimalist. I'm death. You're boring. She laughed, tossing her long blonde hair over her shoulder. But fine. We'll get you fixed up at the party. Jenna said, her cousin's some kind of makeup genius. She brought all her special stuff tonight. I didn't think much of it then, but looking back, that was the first red flag. The party was at an old rental house near campus, the kind with warped wooden floors, sagging porches, and the smell of beer soaked into the walls. The place was already packed when we pushed through the front door. Music shook the windows. Lights strobed red and green. People in costumes crowded every corner, zombies with dripping wounds, pirates swinging plastic swords, clowns with smeared lipstick. It was chaos dove in instantly, disappearing into the living room crowd with a group of her friends. I hovered near the kitchen, sipping flat soda from a red cup. Mask pulled awkwardly against my face. That's when I saw her. She was perched on the counter like a cat, surrounded by half a dozen people waiting their turn. A girl in her 20s, black bob cut with blunt bangs, dressed like some gothic doll. A big black case sat open beside her, filled with paints and brushes. Her hands moved fast, almost hypnotic, dragging color across a frat guy's face. And when she finished, the crowd let out a cheer, because it looked real. Not just smears of paint, but deep, sunken wounds. Skin that looked like it had rotted right off. The guy stared at his reflection in a cracked hand mirror, jaw slack. "Holy shit," he whispered. "This is insane." The girl smiled faintly, eyes dark and sharp. Next, something about her gaze landed on me, like she'd been waiting. I don't know why I stepped forward. Peer pressure, maybe, the soda buzz in my head, or just the way she looked at me, calm, confident, like she knew I'd sit down whether I wanted to or not, before I could think of an excuse. I was on the stool, skull mask dangling in my hands. "What's your name?" she asked softly. "David," her lips curved. "I'm Maris. Don't move." She dipped a brush into a little pot of black paint. When it touched my cheek, the bristles were ice cold. I shivered. "That's freezing. It won't be for long." She smiled again, and something in the pit of my stomach twisted. The paint went on smooth. Too smooth. I'd done cheap Halloween makeup before. The kind that clumps and smears, that feels greasy or sticky. But this wasn't like that. It sank in. The brush traced lines down my jaw, across my forehead, curling under my eyes. And the whole time, I could feel it settling deeper than skin, like it was soaking straight through to bone. Special formula, Maris murmured. Imported. You won't find this in stores. I forced a laugh. Yeah, it's really detailed. She tilted her head, eyes glinting. Detailed is the least of it. When she finished, she handed me the cracked mirror. For a second, I couldn't breathe. The face staring back at me wasn't mine. It was painted into a hollow-eyed phantom. Black veins crawling from the sockets, lips split and bleeding. But it wasn't just paint. The shadows shifted when I moved. The cracks deepened. The eyes didn't look like mine anymore. What the hell? I whispered. Gasps rose around me. Claire pushed forward through the crowd, her mouth falling open. David, you look insane. She meant it as a compliment, but the words hit me like a warning, because for the first time all night, I was afraid, not of the party, not of the crowd, of the face in the mirror, because I wasn't sure it belonged to me anymore. At first, I tried to laugh it off. People crowded around, clapping me on the back, pulling out their phones. Dude, that's sick, one guy slurred, shoving his camera into my face. I forced a grin, pretending I was into it, but my reflection haunted me. Every time I caught sight of a window or shiny surface, it was theirs hollow eyes, those cracked black veins, and the longer I wore it, the heavier it felt, like the paint wasn't just sitting on my skin anymore, like it was pressing in. Claire danced over, fangs glinting in the flashing light. You actually look badass for once, David. You should thank her. I turned to find Maris still sitting on the counter, calmly cleaning her brush. She didn't look at anyone else, not at the crowd buzzing around her. Just at me, that same faint smile, like she knew what was happening. I tried to shrug it off, grab another soda, mingle. But every time I opened my mouth, people looked at me strange. Cool voice filter, one guy said, frowning. How'd you do that? What filter? I asked, and even to my own ears. My voice sounded different, deeper, hollow, like it was echoing from a cave. Claire laughed it off, dragging me toward the dance floor. Come on, spooky boy. Live a little. The crowd swallowed us. Music pounded, bass rattling my ribs. For a moment, I almost lost myself in it. Almost forgot about the paint, the voice, the reflection. Then I felt it, something running down my cheek. At first, I thought it was sweat. I swiped at it, but my fingers came away black dot paint, thick, oily, glistening in the strobe light, but it didn't smear off. It clung to my skin, sticky, refusing to wipe away, and when I looked at my hand, the paint wriggled, tiny veins crawling across my palm, seeping between my fingers. I staggered back, heart hammering. Claire, but she was gone. Lost in the crowd, I pushed through the crush of bodies, heading for the bathroom. The paint smeared more with every step, spreading across my neck, seeping into my collar. The bathroom door slammed behind me. I flicked the light, switched dot, and froze. The mirror showed me a stranger. The black veins had spread across my entire face now, curling down my throat like roots. My eyes were sunken, lips split and cracked. And when I leaned closer, the reflection smiled on its own. I stumbled back, slamming into the stall door. No, no, no. The paint burned. I clawed at my skin, scraping my nails down my cheeks. Chunks of it came away, sticky and wet. But underneath, not flesh, not mine. The skin beneath was grey, cracked like stone. I gagged, stumbling to the sink, running the water until it hissed hot. I splashed it against my face, scrubbing, desperate to wash it off. The water ran black, thick with paint, but my reflection didn't change. If anything, it grinned wider. The bathroom door creaked open. I whipped around, heart racing. A girl in a witch costume stumbled in, tipsy, eyeliner smeared. She froze when she saw me. Her drunk smile faded. Nice. Makeup, she said slowly. I tried to answer, to explain, but the words came out warped, guttural. She backed toward the door. Okay, I'm just gonna... But she didn't finish, because Maris was there. She stood in the doorway, blocking the girl's exit. The witch frowned. Excuse me. Maris didn't move. She raised her brush instead, and with one swift stroke across the girl's cheek. The party laughter outside the bathroom dimmed. The witch gasped. Her hands flew to her face. Dark veins spread instantly from the paint mark, curling under her eyes, across her lips. She clawed at her skin. Whimpering, her reflection in the mirror began to shift. Her eyes turned black. Her mouth tore into a grin that didn't belong to her. And then she laughed, a high, broken sound that echoed mine. Maris lowered her brush, meeting my gaze across the room. One is never enough, she murmured. The party outside wasn't normal anymore. When I pushed back into the hallway, the air felt heavier. The music warped, voices too deep, laughter too sharp, and everywhere I looked, faces had changed. The guy in the werewolf mask, his snout dripped blood. His claws tore into the drywall. The girl in angel wings, her feathers were burning, her eyes hollow black pits. A clown stumbled past me, head lolling, painted grin stretched ear to ear. Except it wasn't paint anymore, it was skin. The costumes weren't costumes. The makeup wasn't makeup. It was becoming real. I stumbled back, heart slamming, vision swimming. Maris was in the center of the living room now, her case of paints open at her feet. People lined up around her, laughing, begging for their turn. She painted stroke after stroke, and with each one, the house grew darker. The air thicker, faces warped. Masks fused, costumes bled, until it didn't feel like a party anymore. It felt like a ritual. Asterisk, asterisk. The living room pulsed like a beating heart. Red lights strobed across twisted faces. Music throbbed low and guttural, like drums from underground. Bodies moved, not dancing anymore, but convulsing, twitching, jerking to a rhythm no one else could hear. I stumbled backward, pressing to the wall. My skin burned, veins of black crawling down my arms now. The air smelled of sweat, copper, and rot. A guy in a skeleton suit staggered past me. His mask had fused to his skin, jaw split wide, ribs splitting open through cloth. He didn't scream. He laughed. "Don't you feel it, David?" He rasped, his hollow eyes locking onto mine. "It's beautiful." I shoved him aside, heart hammering. I had to find Claire, had to get out. I shoved through the crowd, faces blurring past me. A girl with horns, eyes bleeding. A pirate dragging a real cutlass through the floor, sparks flying. A nurse, syringe in hand, filled with something dark and bubbling. Everywhere I turned, more paint, more warped flesh, and in the center of it all, Merris painted calmly, her brush moving fast and sure. Each stroke spread like wildfire, consuming whoever she touched. The room bent around her, drawn into her orbit. I caught a glimpse of Claire on the stairs. Relief crashed over me. "Claire," I shouted, voice cracking. She looked down at me and my blood froze. Her fangs weren't plastic anymore. They were bone, long and jagged. Her eyes glowed faint red. Her corset heaved as she tilted her head, watching me. "David," she purred. Her voice wasn't hers anymore. It layered, deep and hollow. "You should let her finish." I shook my head violently. No, we have to go." Her lips peeled back in a grin too wide for her face. "There is no leaving." Panic surged. I bolted for the front door, shoving through painted bodies. But when I grabbed the knob, my stomach dropped. It wasn't a door anymore. The wood warped under my hand, twisting into a solid wall of pulsing flesh. My palm stuck to it like glue. I yanked back, gagging, paint smearing across my skin. Laughter erupted behind me, dozens of voices, hundreds, all laughing. I turned. The crowd had stopped moving. Every face turned toward me at once, paint dripping, teeth bared, eyes glowing. "Stay," they whispered in unison. "Stay with us." My heart pounded so loud I thought my ribs would burst. I bolted for the back, toward the kitchen. The kitchen reeked of rot. Dishes crusted with food crawled with maggots. The counter slick with black paint. The back door was swollen shut. No knob, no frame, just more wall. I spun around, chest heaving, and there was Merris, standing in the doorway, brush in hand. Her eyes gleamed, pupils too wide, swallowing the whites. She didn't rush. She didn't need to. "You can't fight it," she said softly. "Why me?" My voice broke, raw and hollow. "What did I do?" She tilted her head, bangs falling into her eyes. "You let me paint you." She stepped closer, brush dripping black. "And now you're mine." I grabbed the nearest thing I could dan, empty beer bottle, and swung Dot. It smashed across the counter, shards flying. I jabbed the jagged edge toward her, my hand shaking. "Stay away." Merris only smiled. "You'll hurt yourself long before you hurt me." Her brush twitched in her fingers, and my veins flared with pain, like fire under my skin. I screamed, collapsing to my knees, bottle shattering from my grip. The paint writhed across my body, crawling, tightening in the reflection of the microwave door. I saw my face again, not mine anymore. The cracks had split wider. My eyes were empty pits, black liquid dripping down my cheeks. And behind me, the reflection of Merris loomed, impossibly tall, face smeared with 1,000 different paints, 1,000 stolen faces. I staggered to my feet and ran again, crashing into the basement door. It flew open. I tumbled down the stairs into darkness. The basement stank of mold and iron. My phone light flicked on, trembling in my hand, and what it revealed froze me. The walls were covered in faces, not masks, not paintings. Faces, real, skin stretched flat, nailed into plaster, eyes wide, mouths open in silent screams. Paint smeared across each one, dripping, alive. I gagged, stumbling back, but my shoulder hit something solid. A body. I spun, light shaking, Dozens of bodies slumped against the wall, half-painted. Their eyes rolled toward me in unison. "Join us," they moaned, voices slurring into one dot. My stomach lurched. My knees buckled. I bolted up the stairs, shoving through the heavy door. But when I stumbled back into the house, the party was gone. No lights, no music, just silence. The living room stood empty, floorboards warped, windows boarded shut. Dust hung thick in the air. The furniture was covered in white sheets, mold eating the edges. It looked abandoned, like no one had lived here for decades. My chest heaved, my vision swam. Was I hallucinating? Had I imagined everything? Then the mirror on the wall caught me. I froze, because in the mirror, the house was full again. Lights, music, people laughing, painted faces writhing, and in the very center, Meris stood, brush in hand, behind her reflection, mine, grinning. I staggered back from the mirror, breath tearing through my throat. It wasn't possible. The house around me was silent, rotting, long abandoned. Dust coated every surface. My footsteps left trails in the grime. But in the reflection, the party still raged. Faces writhed. Paint dripped. The air in the mirror shimmered red and alive, and there I was, still smiling, still painted, still dancing with the rest of them. My reflection lifted its head. Our eyes locked across the glass, and then it spoke. "You're late." I screamed, slamming my fist against the mirror. Cracks splintered across the glass, warping the reflection. The party faces twisted, shattering into 1,000 fragments, but the cracks bled, black paint oozed out, dripping down my hand, across the frame, soaking into the floor. And with every drip, the walls around me shifted, the dust dissolved, the boards warped. Music bled through the air again, faint at first, then louder, until the abandoned house wasn't abandoned anymore, until I was back inside the party. The laughter was deafening. Painted faces pressed in from all sides, grinning, whispering. Their words crawled into my ears. Stay, belong, join. I shoved past them, desperate for air, desperate for anything but this. My chest burned, veins writhing under my skin. I clawed at my arms, tearing paint away in sticky strips. But underneath wasn't flesh. Anymore, it was canvassed, thin, white, stretched tight over bone. I collapsed to my knees. Choking, the floorboards under me pulsed like a heartbeat. Black paint seeped up through the cracks, staining my clothes, my hands, my throat, and then Meris was there. Brushpoised.com, smiling. "You look perfect," she whispered. I tried to crawl away, nails digging into the boards, but my arms gave out. My body wasn't mine anymore. She knelt beside me, tilting my chin with the tip of her brush. "This isn't paint, David. It never was." Her voice was soft, like explaining to a child. "This is who you really are." She drew one final stroke across my forehead and everything split open. The party vanished. The house vanished. All that remained was blackness, floating faces stretched across endless dark, painted, cracked, whispering, screaming. Thousands of them, layered on top of each other like a gallery of the damned dot, and in the center Dashmi, my body stretched thin, skin peeling into canvas, face frozen in that hollow grin. I tried to scream, but no sound came. Only laughter, endless, echoing laughter, then silence. The void blinked away, and I was standing outside the house, Alone, the cold night air stung my lungs. The yard was overgrown, weeds climbing the boarded windows. The neon Halloween bash sign was gone. The driveway was empty. The house looked exactly like the abandoned wreck it had been before. Had it all been in my head? I staggered toward my car, heart pounding. My clothes were clean. My skin looked normal again, pale but untouched. But my reflection in the car window stopped me cold. It wasn't mine. The painted face grinned back. Cracks splitting my cheeks, black veins curling from my eyes. And this time, it moved without me. The reflection leaned closer, pressing its forehead to the glass. Its lips moved, but I didn't. You belong to us now. The window fogged with its breath, for words smeared across the glass. You'll never leave. I blinked. And I wasn't outside anymore. I was back in the living room, back in the music, back in the laughter. The painted faces pressed in close, whispering, cheering, reaching, and mine among them, dancing, smiling, forever, asterisk.